The 14th of July. This is sensational, friends. The SBU carried out the Special Operation Web 2. They destroyed locomotives with hundreds of tanks and dozens of pieces of equipment. Let's go again. What are you writing? Right now, Russian war correspondents are crying about this. We're waiting for confirmation. God, SBU, don't stop. A series of explosions in Moscow, the Moscow region, Nizhny Novgorod and Kursk. Yo guys, this is F. Sorry for the bad quality guys, but it is what it is. Boom, bada boom. Muscovites are celebrating hero, yo ma. Are you kidding me? A drone just exploded about 200 meters from here, holy sh**. Just now they're heading to the scene. I think we're the closest to the epicenter in terms of safety. Smoke is burning, there's a piece over there, firefighters are putting out white smoke, which means they're putting it out. Yeah, the scariest part is, the forest caught fire. Boom bada boom, burn bright so it doesn't go out. In Pushkino, near Moscow, a warehouse with fuel, lubricants and gas cylinders suddenly caught fire. And that's all because dozens of drones were flying toward Moscow. The engine is in the back. No, it makes a full circle. And now the shootdowns have started. At least not on our heads. They shot it down so that something landed in the swamps today. A non-stop fire show. Oh, you can tell it was quite a sight. My friends brought down clouds of black smoke. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel and leave a few kind words in the happy comments. Support for Ukraine, also the geography of use. Like, comment, subscribe, and we're starting. Let's go. That's it. Kovalev's Height fuel depot in Moscow. Father in Smolensk. There's a blackout somewhere around 2. Where did this get to Ukraine already? What? Are you gonna become a firefighter? In Kstovo, Nizhny Novgorod region, after a drone attack, a bitumen plant is on fire. The Lukoil Nizhny Novgorod refinery is also burning intensely. And this is the second attack on the refinery in less than a year. All 3 Iskander-M launchers were destroyed as a result of a missile strike in the Bryansk region. They hit it, look. They hit the base, those bastards are finished. Yeah, seriously, what the heck is this? Well, Muscovites are actually really shooting down drones with their bare hand. More precisely, with pistols. Here's the situation. So, over there is muddy ground. There you go. Here we have an air defense system. This is how we set it up. We throw it over there. Boom, that's left, just like that. And here, for those particular guys, it's like this. Bang! And over there they fall in the forest. See, they make it as far as the greenery. What are you writing? Moscow is on the line. The cherry on top, the armed forces of Ukraine shot down a Russian Su-35, a 4th generation multi-role fighter jet. The aircraft was hit in the Kursk direction. And our Neptunes are striking Sevastopol. That's a bit early. They've started celebrating Neptune Day in Sevastopol. There was some kind of explosion and a fire broke out. In short, terrible things are happening. Anything could explode at any moment or something else could happen. Basically, it's scary. Even the scooters themselves completely blew up in the field. Just imagine the sheer and utter devastation. A whole door was entirely and violently torn off. Crimeans are now actively fleeing Crimea in very large numbers. And there are kilometer-long traffic jams stretching extensively across the Kerch Bridge. It wasn't a plant, it was an installation, certainly not a factory, but rather a complex and intricate setup. And now, your favorite topic. Moscow, which got flooded. People are heading to the sea, but here we are. And over there, people are literally swimming them. A downpour with hail hit Moscow and the Moscow region. Heavy rain, wind, hail. We are thousands, like queens. Today, bad weather is expected not only in Moscow. City services are warning that the capital will see rain with thunderstorms and strong winds up to 15 meters per second. In the second half of the day, thunderstorms will rumble through Moscow. Hail hit the Moscow region, and this is what it looks like in Korolev. This is all hail, it's hail. This is pure hard hail. And finally, as usual, let's take a look at a breakdown of top-notch propaganda from Russia. Actually, this is the first war we're fighting without evacuating the population. How is that even possible? When troops are stationed in the cities, and there's always some informant who will leak the coordinates, and then we'll be left to bury the heroes. Sometimes you listen to Trump, but judging by his actions, it's more like Biden. Why? Because everything is contradictory. On Monday he says no, on Tuesday he says yes, missiles, weapons, and so on. And it feels like he has a bit of that Odessa vibe, you know? When journalists ask him a question, so is it yes or is it no, he answers, well, maybe. And what that maybe means is never really clear. And Trump decided that he's what, a Tsar? Yes. And does that make you the empress of the world or something? All rolled into one. What suddenly happened? And just look at how they strut around, how he shows off Trump. Yeah, sanctions, am I considering them, am I not? The main thing is they really don't like it. He's even started speaking a bit rudely. Before our eyes, Trump is undergoing Bidenization. Trump, from being the only one who could talk to Putin, is turning into just another version of Biden. And does he really seriously think that now he can just tell us what to do with a sneer and we'll obey? He still hasn't understood anything. He hasn't realized that we act based on our national interest. If Trump doesn't like this, it just shows that he still hasn't understood anything about Russia. Which means he's offering us terms that don't align with our own views about what's good for us. And why should we do Trump any favors? Really, the very idea why on earth should we do anything for Trump? To please him? For us, air defense has become a normal part of life. And when you read books about the Great Patriotic War, so many books, songs and paintings have been created. This is war. It penetrates so deeply into every corner and it brings out some hidden potentials. Our border residents have faced truly difficult trials. One of the girls, an artist, started painting a Stein scorpion on fragments from a 400. But that's the body, that's the lid, exactly right. It's the lid that falls off when the missiles are launched, that's it. It has probably become a kind of symbol. On the one hand, it's something that protects us, and on the other, it's hope, not quite confidence or a near victory, but it's something that lives in the soul of each of us. So honestly, I just wanted to express that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Please pass on my sincere and heartfelt thanks to the incredibly talented artists for their remarks. Absolutely, that is indeed a very insightful and excellent comment. Furthermore, it is important to acknowledge that Belgorod steadfastly does not give up, demonstrating remarkable resilience and determination. Thanks a lot.
It's happening on Mira Avenue, not far from their main mosque.
On the days when they have Eid al-Adha, there is no traffic on this 12-lane highway. 12 stripes. 6 in one direction and 6 in the other. And here people are filming from the balcony from the Prospect Mira metro station. And off into the distance, along Yaroslavskoye highway, you can see the end. The entire space is covered with people. And these are men, healthy, sober men, all of whom practice wrestling, go to gyms and train. It's an army, a whole one. And if one day the mullah orders them to slaughter Muscovites, believe me, they'll do it quickly because the Ministry of Internal Affairs won't even have time to make a sound or respond. And the result will be very sad. Why are they strong? I'll say it again. Because they are united. The only thing that binds them is faith. Some idiot who put on a costume. Honestly, I can't call him anything but an idiot. These are representatives of the army of the Antichrist. There's no other way to put it. The Duma tells billions of Muslims that our faith is wrong. I have a question. And who are you to say such things? There are 30 million indigenous Muslims living in Russia. And what do you want to tell us? Is our faith right or wrong? While we are doing everything we can to unite Muslims and Christians, we are also working to foster greater understanding. And then there's yet another idiot like this. They also make these kinds of provocative statements. But again, I have a question. Does someone really have to go and break the law and do something just so idiots like this stop saying such things? And if anyone raises the head of nationalism, that head needs to be cut off. It simply needs to be cut off, that head. But why are they allowed on the Crimean bridge? Doesn't that stir any particular emotions in you? But if we hit the Kyiv dam, you get upset every time. But if Ukraine strikes the Crimean bridge, what's stopping us from destroying? What's wrong with you, Balakin? I honestly don't understand. Personally, I don't post all these things, and it's not that I'm happy about it. I understand that. But I think logically, Vladimir Rudolfovich, you're not being logical, because I read the experts, yes. It's sabotage, but it doesn't actually do any harm even to the Crimean bridge. And if it could have, but you're talking about the Kyiv dam, there tens of thousands of people died. At the very least, I want to remind you, that was sabotage, but this is a terrorist attack. These are different things. Vasilich, excuse me, I want to remind you that the previous sabotage on the Crimean bridge resulted in people dying. Moreover, it was only a stroke of luck that the passing train nearby didn't derail, because the plan was exactly... That's right, I'm not arguing with you, so my friend won't accuse me of taking sides, of covering for some people. No, but why should I assume that the dam would lead to people dying? What if you blow up the Kyiv dam? Yes, well, if you blow it up, wait, don't rush. Listen, the water would flood half of the Kyiv region. As a result, innocent people would die in large numbers. It would be a disaster. Just a minute. When the Ukro Nazis blew up the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant dam, I don't recall anyone being particularly upset about it. Look, I was there. I saw all of this with my own eyes, and people died. So what? Did the so-called world community even flinch? Look, excuse me, how many strikes hit there? They were pounding it with HIMARS, targeting that area specifically. Just think how much money was spent firing those HIMARS to destroy that dam. And what happened? I'm all for punishing those terrorists and I believe they should be punished perfectly. But I'm against calling for revenge. Let's not go after the model makers. Or say, let's destroy the dam in Kyiv or somewhere else. Of course, let me speak. So, are you suggesting that during the Great Patriotic War we should have bombed Berlin? Come on. Russia as always underestimates its opponents. They seriously underestimated Mr. Zelensky and his team, no matter what they called them. Let's remember, comedian, drug addict, expired, and so on and so forth. Then, apparently, the people who used such words and epithets about him were just trying to assert themselves. Cheap drones, where artificial intelligence was used, where there was delivery, this is a successful special operation. Do you understand? In the language of special services, this is a very successful, bold, and effective operation which resulted in minimal costs but caused billions of dollars in damage. What can I say? Bold and efficient. Here he is, as you can see, the head of the security service of Ukraine. How did something like this become possible? How? They spent a year and a half preparing, calculated everything precisely, prepared everything thoroughly. After all, this is a success for the SBU, no matter what anyone tells me. And here, don't want to label anyone or pass judgment, but it turns out that the entire Russian state machine was prepared for anything except these special operations, it turns out. That is, they didn't even consider it in their model. I don't know what to say. It turns out we're all left hanging, quite literally. We don't know where these trucks might be, whether there are similar trucks, whether there are similar caches. After all, in this way, what they demonstrated today could destabilize, even without sending drones from Ukrainian territory. For example, the operation of key aviation hubs across Russia. We can see that they've reached as far as the Amur region. So it turns out that any rear areas, any industries, any directions can be destabilized. And this reminds me of the story with Mossad, you know, the special operation with cell phones. But here, it's even bolder. Here, there's artificial intelligence, storage delivery, and in fact, the strike itself. This is a weakness, not a strength. So it turns out that the opponent has a different model. Everyone used to laugh at him, right? They said, yeah, he's this and that, but he created a system. Was it him or was it his team? If it was his team, then it's to his credit that he put together such a team. In Ukraine, whose leaders Putin just called terrorists, people are still shedding tears over the nuclear arsenal that was handed over to Moscow after the collapse of the Soviet Union. They're suggesting making dirty bombs from the fuel that remained at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Supposedly, it would only take a few weeks to do this, and then, without warning, drop the bombs on Russia. These people are sick. Hello, you are watching Channel 1 Live. This is Time Will Tell with Artem Shenin. As always, at this time, the most important and relevant news. Today is the 2nd of June, and the news for the 2nd of June is news that outshines all other news, if only because it is so important, interesting, and all-encompassing, that the news from the 1st of June, against this backdrop, there's really no need to discuss it anymore. Because the news from the 1st of June stat was yesterday. So, for everyone who's interested, the news from the 1st of June I wrote a lot about it yesterday on my Telegram. If you're interested, go check it out, read the news and see what I think about it. But since that was yesterday, and today is the 2nd of June, and today is Istanbul, so we'll be discussing the 2nd of June and Istanbul. Because, well, you all understand why. That's it. You know what we need to do? So that when a Gurovets or an Izbivushnik or a recruited Mayajan gets behind the wheel of a heavy truck and drives to a military airfield, from the vehicle they're driving, drones are launched.
He needs to perceive such a trip not as a journey to buy bagels at a Russian fair, but as a one-way road.
He must understand that when he is arrested, he won't be sent to a detention center where he'll get medical care, read books, rest, eat well, and then return home with medals and decorations after the next prisoner exchange. Instead, he will be executed by firing squad, or better yet, hanged. That's how it needs to be. And there's no need to liquidate them during the arrest. I insist on this. That's too easy. There needs to be a trial, an investigation, and a very brief one at that. We can introduce a simplified form of criminal proceedings and the death penalty by hanging. And that's right, and that's good. That will change the rules of the game. There's no need to listen to the chairman of the Constitutional Court, who tells us fairy tales about liberal values, about Europeans, about how the world will be offended, about how it's all so complicated, how hard it is to change these laws. None of that is necessary. A presidential decree, we end the moratorium. And as part of this decree, we draft a decree of the President of the Russian Federation on urgent measures to combat banditry, terrorism, and sabotage activities. And then we introduce simplified procedures, detention for 30 days without trial. We detain, place the person in a cell, and carry out operational measures with them. By the way, this will be very useful when it comes to migration issues. And most importantly, the death penalty. Simplified criminal proceedings and hanging. And that's it. And then a lot will change. And that's why Vladimir Vladimirovich, the inspection has now been completed. The regions have started to implement some things, but it's very important to maintain this attention, this coordination, this support and training. And I strongly ask for your decision to transform the all-Russian inspection, which you instructed to conduct, into the all-Russian Family Assistance Service. Retribution, or more precisely, just punishment for those who orchestrate all this, is inevitable. And we, as civilized people at that moment, will negotiate with him, with them, about how they prefer to stand against the wall. With their eyes blindfolded or on their knees facing the wall or bravely looking into the barrel. So here are 3 options that in the end we'll have to negotiate with them about. We, as humane people, will grant them the right to choose as their last wish. After all, strategic aviation is part of our nuclear triad. That is, they didn't just strike an aircraft, but specifically targeted a carrier aircraft. Special combat munitions, or more precisely, KH-55 missiles. There are 16 of them are loaded onto the Tuesday 95, and off it goes. And the Americans can easily take down a single aircraft. That's basically the point. Now, here's the question. Who is ultimately responsible for the nuclear triad? Who is it? That's right, the General Staff. The General Staff is responsible for the nuclear triad. You know what's really frightening? I really hope this doesn't get overlooked, that someone is held accountable for it. Not just a scapegoat, like the commander of the airbase who failed to secure his post. This is a systemic problem. That's what it turned out to be. And not only should someone be removed from their position, but they should also be held criminally responsible under the law for causing such enormous damage to our country. When they attacked the Kursk region, it wasn't stated directly, openly, or honestly that, of course, once we liberate the Kursk region, don't expect us to just stop at the border. Obviously, we're going to go further. Well, they said it outright. I'm coming for you. How could they be more honest? What's so deceitful about that? Now they're surprised. Why us? No, they even want to give us the Chernihiv region. Well, they'll get themselves into that situation because they're also planning something for Bryansk over there. Yeah, that's right. And Odessa should be included too. Igor Olegovich can vouch for that. At the same time, yes, indeed, sometimes voices of reason do break through. I often quote Professor. By the way, Chernihiv, I'm not great with geography. Whose is it? An ancient Rus city? Yeah. And where is it now? Under Ukraine? So it's temporarily occupied by Ukraine. So it's a Russian city, right? Well, of course, still. And Kiev? Even more Russian. Kiev is more complicated. What? Well, you see, the Poles sold Kiev to us. Well, all the more so, right? We paid money for it. And now, why is someone living there? We'll sell Lviv next. No, wait, who's there now? Hey, get out of there! There you go! Damn, some riffraff moved in. That's why I suggest tearing it down and rebuilding it from scratch. Why tear it down? Tear it down! Citizens of Kiev! Black Tsar! I don't consider you citizens of Ukraine. Residents of Kiev, immediately, leave this cursed place. As of today, have we gotten any closer to peace or not? If our main trend was, you still don't understand, you're the one who needs peace. Do I need it? Does everyone need peace? No! We need victory! We have a completely different task. Our task is to ensure the prosperity of our country and its security for generations to come. If achieving this goal requires the Nazi regimes and the political elites supporting them to cease to exist, then so be it. We do not have the goal of preserving the Ukrainian political nation. But that's not what we're being accused of. That's why we don't need peace. We need victory. We need victory. Do you understand? Our conditions are very simple. Our national interests must be upheld. Peace at any price. In a truce, you have never said that. Not once.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
After a series of incidents on the railways, aren't you afraid to use rail transport? No, because we walk under God's protection. What will be. Why be afraid? Live for today, enjoy life. I just bought a ticket to Crimea. It's to Feodosia, to a sanatorium. They gave it to me for treatment. It was really hard, but I managed to get the ticket. I'm going anyway, no matter what. wherever they send me. Yeah? Really? Yeah, where to? Yeah, what? Yeah, the Crimean Bridge. I'm going to Crimea, to Feodosia, to the sanatorium for treatment. I think it's America. It's the West America. They're the ones mainly behind it. And all these puppets, Ukraine too, they're just using it as a puppet. For their own purposes, to crush Russia. But they can't manage anything else. Their weapons are inferior to ours at the moment. That's why they've decided to resort to small-scale sabotage, like partisans used to do. That's all there is to it. That's probably what it is, and it seems to be the most logical and plausible explanation for the situation at hand. Well, that's certainly it. Okay? Yeah, we can confidently conclude that this is indeed the case, providing a clear and definitive understanding of the matter. And alright, let's all just leave this place together right now. We are definitely leaving. Just one more thing perhaps before we go. And here, the court workers need to go home. This night yes, we are waiting for an audience all over the world so that they know the truth about Russian aggression, both inside and outside Russia, against Ukraine. Every like, every comment, and every subscription from you helps ensure that as many people as possible around the world see this video. Stay with us, stay on the bright side. Friends, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes, we will definitely win.